coming out of that D 7447, you take that one both to D as well as to A. Don't connect A output at all. Okay, so that is the trick. But anyway, that is not a very good trick, because then the particular output will be loaded with 2 LEDs current. Eventually, that may burn out. But anyway, that I would call a tricky solution. But anyway, you may think of some other solution also. Particularly those who are having 7, you cannot use that. And there might be a problem with 9 also in certain cases, because I think you can find out. I may not have to explain that.
Sir, we can only use the mod 10 counter, right?
Yeah, mod 10 is okay.
This problem we have to submit, or like this problem that you have
that will be the problem for the next class. So I would expect you that, okay, you will be designing that one during the class maybe. So I may ask you not to, I mean, even if you design for your own sake, not to submit that design. Maybe I will just add a small thing about that, so that you may not say that, okay, I have already come prepared, so that you can at least work for say 15 minutes on that day. Okay, but keep that Karnaugh map ready, or rather the equations ready, Boolean equations ready, and also check, because there will be 4 such expressions, right? For 4 output, there will be 4 separate expressions. So whether there is, actually there will be certainly, how much sharing you can do of those expressions, because otherwise you require too many logic gates. So logic gate economy is another concern.
So how much emphasis will be there on optimization?
Right now, I think quantitatively saying that one will be very difficult, because your roll numbers are also not same. So depending on your roll number, sometimes it might be very, very simple. So suppose, I do not know whether 10011 is here. Who is 10011? It might appear to be a little simpler. I mean, I am not saying that it is very simple, but it might be having that, okay, it is somewhat simpler compared to the other people. So depending on that, I think we will decide that. If you have not used unnecessary things, in the lab we used to say that reduce the chip count. But here I do not know, maybe on the schematic you will find that, okay, if you are using one XOR gate, it is showing an XOR gate in isolation. You do not probably feel that, okay, you are using just 1/4 of a 7486. Similarly, if you just use one NAND gate and then rest of the 3 are unutilized, you hardly recognize that, okay, you are using 1/4 of an IC. So if suppose you require some inversion, then actually you can use those unused NAND gates, tie them together, tie the inputs together, you can use it. So rather than using a separate inverter chip, you can use that unused 3 NAND gates. So but I think in simulator doing that one, unless you are having a clear idea of how many chip, how many gates are there on a chip. Suppose 7404 contains 6 inverters. If you look at the manual, certainly you will get AND gates, NAND gates. If it is 2 input, there are basically quad means 4 such gates are there. 3 input AND gates are 3 in number. So in the lab, we used to say that reduce the total number of chip count, that will reduce your total connection also. But in simulator, maybe we will go by the total number of logical elements just you are using. We may have to ignore the total chip count, because that might not be very apparent to all of you. So try to...
Today's experiment, can I use 7495 instead of 74273?
I may not suggest that, because then you will be missing that whatever I was saying, there is a twist. That how you can utilize that 273 part of that as almost equal to 7495. So as I think you know already about the motivation of 7495, you require some intermediate shifting, right?
Yes.
So think about doing that. You will possibly find that for that portion, you do not need a parallel loading. So when you do not need a parallel loading, you can just connect that Q output to the next D input to make a chain of, say, because if you say 7495, it is 4 flip-flop. So you can pick up 4 flip-flop from 74 to 73, connect them on a chain. It will form something like 7495, unless you require parallel loading. Probably you do not require parallel loading. And try to manage it parallel loading with the rest of the 4 flip-flops. Or it may not be 4. Maybe the division could be 3 or 5, 4 or 4. Right. And as I said, that whatever I am saying, take it literally. There will be a twist. Okay, Okay, so once you solve it, probably you can appreciate that.
So by before the next class, so we have to implement this, or like during the class we have to do?
For that roll number.
Yeah.
No, roll number, I think it might be better if you fill, but next week will be your exam week. So I do not know how much time you will really get for doing that already. But if you prefer that, I don't have any objection. I will change that one slightly so that you, I mean, if you can find it out immediately, then maybe it may not take more than a couple of minutes also. Okay. I will just say that, okay, it can be done very simply. So maybe just you need to add 1 or 2 connections, not more than that. Okay, but I want on that day, everyone should show the result. So those who are, I think, managing with phone, they must come prepared for showing that one. So maybe after first half an hour, we will ask you to show the results, okay, on the by sharing your screen. So I would request all the TAs also to be present so that we can check them in parallel. Okay, so please check that thing out. That will be a real fun experiment. I don't know. I have not really checked after that. How many of you have solved that challenge problem for the last week's question? What was the problem? I think some people, once again, they are raising their hands. That is for about phone or some question, or who have submitted. Is it the answer for that? Okay. So how much complexity do you put in that? Suppose in terms of hours of thinking or implementation, because there might be 2 different kind of situation. Once the thinking time is more and the simulation time is less. Simulation time means drawing the schematic, etc. And in the other case, it might be just the opposite. If I say that, okay, design some 80-bit counter by putting 10 counters of 7493 or 16 counters of 7493, that might be a tedious job. It will take more time in the simulator rather than any thinking. So in terms of that, how do you, so maybe Amitaksha can unmute. I think you have raised your hand. So maybe you can unmute yourself and say that how much do you feel that the thinking time is there and how much time you need to spend on the simulator? What is the typical absolute value or ratio?
Time, like, I think the only part that was kind of complex was the thinking. And I personally use some combinatorial circuit to, generate that 6 output, like, for adding the 6. And rest, I think it's quite optimal, but it would be really good if you could give us some comment regarding the optimality of our solution.
No, let me see the other solution also, because it is not that whatever I will give will be the most optimal one. It may so happen that, okay, you come up with a solution which is much better than whatever I can think of. So let me go through all the solutions, then I will declare maybe that, okay, this solution is the most optimal. And in some cases, I mean, it really happens because you are thinking over it. Maybe only thing is that right now you do not have that much of experience, but once you are a little experienced, maybe your solution becomes the optimal one. My solution may not qualify as the most optimal one in some cases. It may so happen also. Okay, so okay, I will check it out. No, because I'm asking you this because during the exam time, I think you have to balance those 2 things. One is that thought process, and then the simulation time. So I think those who are practicing the simulator, for them, I think it becomes much more faster compared to those who are, say, attending on the phone and hardly uses the simulator. On the exam day, I think you may face problems. So please, I think next class, you please ensure that all of you are equipped with the simulator and this experiment so that you can show the result to us. Okay, maybe we will, on the spot, we will give you the evaluation marks. Okay, and whatever you are submitting, I think I am going through them slowly with the help of my TAs also, something I am also checking myself. So it may take a while to give you the feedback, but maybe on the next one, we can certainly give you the feedback immediately. Okay, so then if you do not have anything else, then So for this problem, what is the finally decided? Sometimes I also keep losing track. So tomorrow midnight. Okay. And last one has not yet been closed, right? Last one is also having.
That is supposed to be closed next week.
Okay. So. Okay, fine. So here I think as such for this one there is no challenge problem. Only that middle portion, whatever I have not spelled out, that is the only challenge which I said that there is a twist. So only for that part. Okay, so then maybe I can close the meeting formally if you do not have any other question.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, we can leave, right?
Okay, yeah.
Sir, this is Digvijay.
Yes.
Sir, regarding the last experiment which the students have done, we didn't receive any mail from you.
No, last experiment, I think the mandatory part they might have submitted. There are two parts, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, because the last one I think has been extended. So what is the date of submission for the mandatory part?
Sir, I don't know.
No, I am asking the students. Amrita.
That day itself.
Huh?
I think that day itself. 11:59.
Oh, mandatory was okay. Then that is my mistake because I am mixing up with Wednesday's class sometimes, so I need to be more careful. So I think Digvijay, I will send them to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because we were waiting for it.
Okay.
So last.
That is my mistake.
Last week
For
only.
Wednesday, the problem was somewhat complex, and we have given 7 days time for that. So it is basically including the challenge problem. So I have mixed up the things.
Okay, sir.
I'll send them up. ওকে সর্ব তোমার ইয়ে অফ আছে মাইক্রোফোন অফ হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে হ্যাঁ আজকে শেষ করে দিই এরপরে ওই টিএদের সাথে একসাথে বসলে তোমাকে আবার ডেকে নেবো আর কি ঠিক আছে ওকে